Nice. How's it going?
Good, man. Is that a bad angle?
No, it's perfect.
In my
So,
new studio.
oh, congratulations. It's awesome.
Thanks.
So this is going to be the official start to episode 23. I think we've made it to of an Untold narrative. Why don't you tell everybody who we have in the room?
Well, my name is Rey Marquez. I'm the founder of San Diego Custom Footwear. I teach people how to make custom sneakers and, have my classes and love to see people succeed, and I help them with that.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. So you and I actually have a different story. Primarily, a lot of the guests that I have are people I've actually met online, and we've never met in real life. So you're a unique one because we've actually met in real life first, but over the past few years have continued our relationship, obviously staying in touch through Instagram, which has helped us out. And I've had the opportunity to kind of watch your business grow from the side, which has been super fun to watch. And we're going to get into that. But what I like to do and what we like to talk about is pretty much take us back, right? Like, how did you get your start? Where are you from? What you grew up with, what you didn't grow up with, what you went to school for, and how you got to where you are today.
Well, I didn't go to school. I dropped out of high school my freshman year.
Okay.
So I didn't get a formal education, but I grew up in Mexico, Guadalajara, moved around. I lived 8 years in Wichita, Kansas. Earlier, I was in Fontana here in Inland Empire in Southern California. Kind of all over the place. People ask me all the time, "Are you military?" I'm like, "Nope. My parents just moved around." But I've been in San Diego for the past 19 years now.
Holy cow. Okay.
It was a long story, but I moved to San Diego. I was a single parent. I had full custody of 2 little kids. So without a college education just got into real estate, which at first I was a little scared, but it was okay. It turned out okay. I've had my real estate appraisal firm for 19 years now.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I got a few people that work with me, and I've been doing that for 19 years. And about 5 or 6 years ago, I started getting into shoe customization. Just airbrushing, stencils, that kind of stuff. My son played football in high school, and I started painting his cleats and then his friends' cleats, and it went from there.
All right. Well, that was a boatload of information. We're gonna we're gonna take a step by step. This is a conversation and a process, man. So let's go back to why'd you end up, or how did your parents end up, or how did you end up in San Diego?
So I was before I moved here, I was in Wichita, Kansas. I'd been there for 8 or 9 years. We had a pretty bad breakup with my ex, and I ended up with full custody of my 2 kids. And my brother was a broker here in San Diego. He studied UCSD, got his doctorate in math, and he was here. He became a real estate broker, and he said, "Come over and help me." This was 2001, before the boom. So yeah, I'm pretty old now, I feel. But so he got into it. He said, "Come over here," and at that time I was working in Kansas as a landscaper and spraying trees for bugs and that kind of stuff. And I felt very insecure. I'm like, I'm not a real estate agent. I'm a landscaper, But he said, "No, you'll be fine. Come out here." So I came out here 2001, 2002, I think. I came out here and started working with him as a real estate agent. But I found out quickly that was not for me. I'm not much of a sales guy.
How'd you discover that one?
Well, I'm more, I'm not as outgoing. Real estate agents, you got to put yourself out there, go to parties, socialize. That wasn't me. I couldn't stand that. And plus, I was a single parent, and I didn't have a lot of family here to help me. So people want to go see houses on the weekends or evenings, and that's when I had to be with my kids. So I saw the appraiser one day. He just came in and out did his thing, made his own schedule, and he went about his business. And I was like, that looks like that would fit me perfect.
You just saw this guy doing housing appraisals, and you're like, I could do that.
Yeah, he called me up because I used to do real estate loans and sell real estate. So I did that for about 6 months. And then one day I was like, shoot, I got this, this is a tough schedule. I gotta, I don't ever see my kids. And and I saw the appraiser. He made it. He called me up. I was like, what time can you meet me? I'm like, okay, well, I'll meet you at 11. He shows up, he leaves, and he's done. Like, that was it. I was like, okay, so you make your own schedule. You work by yourself. Perfect. You work from home mostly.
Wow.
And as a single father, that fit me perfectly. So I started, I contacted a large appraisal company here. And in 2002, it wasn't that hard. I got into the business and trained for a couple of years and started my own business. And 2 years later, I started my own business, and it's been growing since. And these last few years, I kind of took my foot off the gas pedal a little with the real estate, just because I was focusing more on the shoe business.
Right. So how after 2 years of like, let's call it just like a normal job, right? Working for somebody, what in your brain ticks is like, I'm just going to start my own business? I mean, that takes a unique personality and drive.
Okay. Well, I should explain this. When you get into the appraisal business, it's always like a father, son, or a family member that you train, because appraisers, they don't want to train just anybody. You're training your competition in your same area. So they don't want to train just anybody.
Okay.
So I had to drive up to I live in San Diego, and I had to drive up to Rancho Cucamonga, which is like, an hour and 45 minutes away north, every once a week for like a year to train with the company up there, because nobody locally would train me.
Oh my God.
So nobody, and I don't blame them. Nobody wants to train anybody here, and there's, that's going to compete with them in their same area.
Wow.
So I had to drive up there once a week, and it was tough, but we got through that. And, I think it's expected for this profession, is expected that you train under a company and then you go solo. But I've been an entrepreneur ever since I can remember. When I was 14 years old, I was, living in Guadalajara, 14, 15. I think I lived there, and I just saw a sign that said free screen printing class. And this guy was selling materials, and he would sell the ink and the screens and all that. So he would give you a little class just so you would buy all the stuff. Well, I took the free class. I took the free class, and a year later, I'm, screen printing T-shirts and for my own company.
So, all right, we're going to dial it back even further. So you started your first business at 15?
Yeah, I was screen printing, selling T-shirts. And so when I was growing up, my mom always worked. We didn't have a lot of money. I have 5 brothers and 1 sister, and we're kind of, living like in a 2-bedroom apartment, all of us. And my mom would work at a factory sewing clothes, and she would bring work home. And then once we moved to Mexico, she started her own business as a seamstress.
Okay.
So I grew up around all the machines. I would help her. I was like her maintenance guy. When I was little, I knew how to sew since I was little, and I would help her with the machines and maintain them and all that. So I always knew how to sew. And by the time I hit middle school, I was sewing my own basketball uniforms. And then when I learned how to screen print, I just put them both together and started making basketball uniforms and jerseys and,
For like yourself, your friends and stuff like that?
Yeah, I actually made them for my basketball team in middle school. We joined like the city league. It was a small town, so we could compete with the older guys. And it was funny because I didn't know what I was doing. Like I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm just learning as I go.
I don't think that's true, but man.
So the first uniforms I made, I didn't know that you're supposed to mix in a catalyzer with so that it would stick to nylon. So they washed their jerseys, and all the numbers fell off.
Hey, but that's the best way to learn, right? You got to try it and figure out what works and what doesn't.
I was scared because it was a team of older guys. I thought they were going to kick my ass or something, but they just thought it was funny. They're like, just fix it. We don't care.
You built this sewing, this screen printing, apparel, side business. You mentioned that you dropped out of high school. Was there a specific reason, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, of course. No, well, I got my girlfriend, we got pregnant when we were both 15.
Okay.
In Mexico. So the only thing I could think of was I dropped out and I went to live with my brother in Kansas and started working, any job, construction, McDonald's, Burger King, all that stuff, whatever I could. And to try and save money to bring her, later. Typical, Mexican fashion, sending back money.
That's why. How long were you in the States, kind of from your family and stuff like that?
Well, before that, we had grown up in like I said, in the Inland Empire in Southern California, probably till I was 12 years old, I think. So Yeah, I was probably grew up there from when I was 12 years old, went to Mexico. Then when I was like 15, 16, then, went back to Kansas and then came here.
Wow. So it's been a grind for a very long time.
Yeah, like I said, I have no idea what I'm doing. All I know is that I got to do this and I got to figure out a way to do it. And then I got to do this. I got to figure out a way to do that. So,
But don't you think looking back on the past even 20 years, isn't there something beautiful to that? Like, just constantly
I
learning
mean,
something new. Obviously, we all wish it could be a little bit easier sometimes, but
yeah,
there's something great about that too.
I mean, yeah, there is. I mean, you feel, sometimes I feel like, you get cornered against the wall, your back's to the wall, whatever, you feel cornered and you feel like, damn, I came out of this with no, very little scars or, how did I do that? You look back and sometimes I'm like, how did I do that? But I try not to look too much, if you get too happy and too full of yourself.
It's true. Yeah, you got
But
to sight of the end goal and things like that. But so let's we're gonna thanks for shit. I mean, that's some real shit. Like,
yeah, no, it's so much stuff happened in between there. I mean, from when we got separated, I mean, my ex and I, it's a long story. She went back and forth, ended up in prison and then deported. And then I was in San Diego. There's a lot of stuff that happened that, maybe for another podcast.
yeah, but you worked through it and you figured it out. And so you start your own real estate business. Is it just you, or did you bring your brother on, or?
No. My brother was not an appraiser. He was a real estate agent and he brought me on.
Okay.
But like I said, I was very intimidated. I was, when you're living in Kansas, working out there, you don't see middle class or upper class, Hispanics or Latin people, Latinos there are just, they're mostly they're all illegal, working in construction or factories. You don't see middle or upper class Latinos in Kansas ever. So my brother wanted me to be a real estate agent, and living in Kansas, I was like, real estate agents, that's not my skin color. Like, we're not real estate agents. So I was very intimidated, very insecure. And my brother just kind of believed in me. He said, trust me, you're smart, you'll be fine. He said, just get over here, you'll be fine. And I didn't even believe in myself, but sometimes, it just takes that one person to believe in you. And so I have 5 brothers. Not all of them believed in me, but he did.
Yeah, I mean, 5's a lot.
So he's like, just get over here. He had a real estate, he had just gotten his broker's license, and he was teaching math at the college. He's still a math professor, but he kind of just does that for fun. He loves teaching. He makes all his money in real estate though, but he just still teaches at a community college for fun.
Yeah.
He's very passionate about math. So yeah, he brought me on. I trained for a couple of years and got my own license and started my own appraisal company. I went through the boom in 2005 to 2008 was pretty tough when the market crashed.
Sure.
I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no work. I would,
you were already a couple years in at that point of being self-employed.
I was already 5 years in. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we'll talk us through that. Like, obviously that's another hurdle that you've experienced in life.
So I didn't know. I mean, I have no college education. I didn't go to school. That's all I knew how to do was real estate, but there was no real estate work. So I started programming my own software to do appraisals, trying to sell it. I started, trying to figure out something else to do, and there was just no business in real estate. I couldn't make any money in real estate. So I tried to go back to Kansas. My brother was doing well. My older brother has a construction company in Kansas, and his company was growing. He said, "Can you come help me run a crew?"
Sure.
So I tried that for a few months, and the whole time I was maintaining the few clients I had left in real estate. I was doing both jobs.
Back and forth?
Well, most of it was online.
Okay.
The appraisals were online, and I would pay somebody here to go take the pictures, go do the inspections of the houses, and I would type up kind of what I do right now. I pay people to do, inspections of the houses, and I just fill out the reports. So I maintained both jobs, and that wasn't really working. And I came back. I tried to get my I didn't try. I got a dealer's license to sell cars. So I was going to the auctions, selling cars. Like, I was trying to figure out something to do.
This story just gets deeper and deeper.
Those were some dark times, man. It was 2008, 2007 and 8. 2009 was a little bit better. I started getting more appraisal work, and I got back to it. But I never.
what? How old like were your kids even then? I mean, they were kind of
Oh, I
growing
had a
up.
newborn already. Yeah, I had two kids from my prior um, relationship, and then I married in 2006, and my wife had one kid from her, with her ex. So we
Right.
had three, and then we just had one newborn. So then we had four kids,
Oh my God.
and not a lot of income. I mean, but I never stopped doing appraisals. I always kept my small, even though I had a few clients, I never stopped throughout all that. But yeah, I got my car dealer's license, and it was tough because I have hundreds of cousins and uncles, and everybody just wanted a car, and I would make no money at all.
Friends
I
and
bought a
family
truck.
discount.
Yeah, that kept me busy the whole time, and I was like, how am I supposed to make money? I felt bad, like making a lot of money off my family. So I guess I'm not a good car salesman, but I did get a Del Rey Autos is dead now.
Wait, was that a real thing?
Yeah, that's what I named it, Del Rey Autos.
Oh my God, you've gone through some real businesses, haven't you?
Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing, but I just know like okay, I just kind of figure it out.
That's amazing.
I have no
um,
idea what the fuck I'm doing.
but yeah, I mean, I can imagine those were some real tough times, especially when the housing market crashes, and that's
Yeah.
like your main thing that you've worked up for years.
When you're a subcontractor, yeah, you don't have any job security. You're just waiting for the next order to come in. I would tell my wife, I'm going to go work, but I would just go sit at Starbucks and email all my clients, say, hey, I'm available. Do you got any appraisals for me? But yeah, and I think the longest I ever went was 2 weeks with no work at all. 2 weeks, and I was physically ill, like it was bad. But I started picking up, and I'm glad I stuck with it.
Yeah, for sure, and that's amazing that you still have it today. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
So
yep, I got the appraisal.
how many people do you have on your team right now?
On my appraisal team, there's about four,
Wow.
and another four on my shoe business now. I think the last few months I actually made more money on my shoe business than I did in my appraisal, but it was the first time. Yeah.
Congratulations. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Like, I mean, you obviously do the kicks, and we're gonna get into the shoe
Yeah.
side of it, right? But do you love the appraisal side as well, or is it just to you? Is it just like something that you do?
It's just something that I did that I mean I guess I was good at. It came easy to me to make decisions. Like a lot of people, you look at a house, you're trying to put a number on a house. It can go, big range, and I was good at just okay, this is a value, and I could support it easily, and I liked it. It was, it felt easy for me,
Sure.
and it was good money. It was flexible, but like, did I have a passion for it? No. It just
Yeah.
paid the bills, and it was a easy, comfy job for me, I would say.
But now you employ 4 people in that business. I mean, that's something to be said for that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
At one
incredible.
point, we had 12. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, before the market crashed, I had 12 appraisers working all over Southern California and Arizona, and
So
yeah.
you mustn't, like, you keep saying that you don't know what you're doing, but I think you do know what you're doing.
Well, I know where I want to go. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I know where I want to go, and I just figure out a way how to get there. For example, like some laws changed in California in 2008. I mean, I don't want to get into the details, but there's a real estate law where real estate agents can choose their own appraiser, and that led to a bunch of overvaluations, because they would choose their appraiser and say, hey, appraise it higher for me. If you
Sure.
can't do it, I'll find another guy who can. So that led to a bunch of overinflated appraisals. So anyways, the state said, okay, we're going to have to go through a third party company, a middleman that's going to randomly select an appraiser, so there's no bias. So I was like, okay, I see where this is going. We're not going to be able to, and next year, we're not going to be able to work with our agents that we've spent years developing a relationship with. We're
Sure.
no longer
Yeah.
allowed to talk to the agents. We got to go through this middleman, so there's no overpricing of houses. So I went and I actually got the very first license for that middle company in the state of California.
Wow.
It's called an AMC, appraisal management company, and I had the very first license in the whole state.
Holy cow.
So I kind of see where I can see what I need to do, but I don't always know how I'm going to get there, or things change all the time.
The appraisal business is weird because I bought and sold a place, and when I was selling it, I was trying to hit a specific number, and like I was getting offers for that number, and then the appraiser came in and devalued it by like 8 grand from where my other offers were. And I just always thought it was crazy how one person could come in
Yeah.
and tell me how much my place is worth when
Yeah.
other people are offering an amount higher than that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like right now is a crazy time. It reminds me of 2006, and property values are just they're going up too fast.
Way too
The
much.
market can't keep up, and a lot of the appraisals. I mean, luckily right now I'm not worried about it. Before I was worried, like, oh shoot, if I can't hit the value, they're gonna just start using a different appraiser. So I would, I was part of the problem. I would kept, overinflating values just because I knew, okay, they're gonna buy it for 8,000 more. If it's not worth it now, in a month it will be. Like, you know what I mean? It was going up so fast. But yeah, it's crazy. Most appraisers, before they even get to your house, they already have a pretty good idea of what they're going to appraise it for without even seeing the house.
Yeah. Well, congrats on a almost 20-year business. I mean, that's
Yeah.
incredible. I mean, what do they say, that if you're in business for over 5 years, like you've done something right, or like most businesses sink after 5 years or something like that. And
Well,
go ahead.
I keep saying, I got lucky with some good clients, and I've had some banks that I've been working with for years and years. I don't know. My grandma used to say, the harder you work, the luckier you get. So maybe that has
I
something to
like
do
that
with
a
it.
lot. That's a good one. Yeah, you've definitely, it sounds like you've always been true to working hard and figuring something out, whatever it takes. And hopefully more people can get inspired by that, because this day and age, all you hear is people complaining about, I don't like this about my job, I don't like this. You have the opportunity to change that.
Yeah.
You just got to do it.
It's scary, but I mean, yeah, you gotta, even when I took, like I said, I took the gas pedal off the appraisal company. And right now is a really good time for appraisals. Right now, the market is booming. I could be making a lot of money in appraisals right now, but I chose not to. And it's scary because, getting into the shoe business, I'm turning away all this work. Luckily my wife is on board. She's like, whatever you want to do, I'm like, okay, well, remember that, because if we're homeless in a few months.
I'm sure.
But luckily it's worked out.
Yeah. So let's navigate how you mentioned airbrushing really briefly, but like let's start talking about how you got to where you are today in regards to your shoe business, because it is something to be said for you. I'll let you speak about the customization and all those other things, but you do some really incredible work. And obviously we took the shoe surgeon course together. And obviously like you were helping Dom and his teachers out, which was pretty hilarious, helping the other students. How did you always have like a love for sneakers or shoes in general?
No, I mean, like I said, we grew up with not a lot of money, so we would buy our shoes at, Payless. I didn't even have a pair of Jordans till after I got married. I was never like huge into sneakers. I was into basketball. I loved basketball. I played all throughout middle school, and 1 year of high school. I love basketball. I love the culture, but I could just never afford them. And growing up in Mexico, there wasn't a lot to, like when I was in Mexico in middle school, I saw the Bulls jerseys, their warm up shirts, and I was like, dang, where am I supposed to get? Like, you can't get anything out there, so I just made my own. I just made my own warm up Bulls jersey or shirt warm ups. So, anyways, in Mexico, it's hard to get. You can't get any, Jordans or any kind of
Can you
shoes.
Sorry to interrupt, but like, how do you just make a jersey? Are you just finding the text, like the netted textile and sewing it together?
Yeah. It was so my mom, like I said, I grew up around the sewing machines. She had sewing machines in the house since I was little. Since I can remember, we've had sewing machines in the house, and I would help her mainly make dresses. Like my mom was kind of the same way. She would figure stuff out. Like when we moved back to Mexico, it was like central Mexico, up in the mountains, really small town. It was a really small town, and she would always bring home, this was 30 years ago, she would bring the Sears catalog, the big old Sears or JCPenney catalog.
Yeah.
And she would have the ladies come to our house, just go through the catalog and say, I want this dress. And then we would go buy the material and just make it.
Based on this little image.
Yeah, just They would just pick. She would measure them, and I would, she'd make the dress, and she would, she did okay. So it was such a small town. They only had like one fabric store, and there wasn't a huge selection. So every now and then we would drive up to Guadalajara or somewhere, which is like 4 hours away. And they had a lot of textiles there, a lot of, and then I would see stuff. I was like, oh, this would be nice for a jersey. And I asked my mom, can I buy some of this? And she's like, sure. And I was, kind of just save it, like not sure what I'm going to do with it, but, and then I saw the Bulls warm-ups, and I was like, I got to make me some of that. So next time we went to the big town, I would stock up and, made my shirt. I just kind of, just off of just watching TV. Like there was no, you couldn't Google images or anything. I was just off of memory, just.
Yeah. I mean, this is like, I mean, we're going to use the term prehistoric, but like you didn't have iPhones. You didn't have.
No, I think I had some basketball cards to look at.
So like, did your mom like help you with the patterning and stuff like that? Or, yeah.
Yeah, she would help me. She because she would see me struggling, and she would be like, "I'll help." Like, stop it. I'll help you later. And I was very impatient. I was like, I want to do it now. So I would just like, I'll do it on my own. And she was like, you're just messing it up. Let me help you.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah,
that's
when I was
so that obviously like you're making these warm-ups and these jerseys and stuff, and more of your friends and the people around you wanted them, or
not necessarily. I mean, I wasn't too good at basketball, but I would get picked first because they knew I was going to make some nice uniforms.
I mean, that's awesome.
But, yeah, I was okay. I was okay in high school, but in middle school I wasn't that good. But I knew they picked me just for that, which I didn't mind. I kept the news. There was a news article I kept when we got first place we were in middle school, and we played against the older men in the city, likely. And I kept the news article that said the well-dressed Aztecs. That was the name of our team.
Amazing.
I didn't keep it because we won. I kept it just because they mentioned the uniforms.
You were the best dressed, obviously.
Yeah.
And so like, how did you discover your love of shoes? Obviously you were around a sewing machine, right? So like they sort of go hand in hand, but I mean, you're exposed to a lot more apparel design and textiles versus sneakers necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, I never imagined myself, making, clothing or garments. I never pictured myself doing that. That for me, that was just, I was helping my mom, make dresses, and that was it. I never pictured myself doing that, but I was always drawing, I was always kind of trying to draw, my wannabe graffiti style, I would draw draw lowriders and send them into the lowrider magazine. And then never got, every now and then they would publish drawings of kids, and mine never got picked, but I would send them in every month.
Really?
I used to love that magazine, the Lowrider Arte. But anyway, so I was always kind of drawing and stuff, and then my son, he's the one that kind of got me into the shoe customization. He started doing he started telling me about the shoe surgeon and FBCC and all this other stuff. And then I looked at the class, and I'm like, no, they're sewing their shoes. I thought they were just painting it. Like, no, they're actually like sewing, like stitching, like reconstructing, and thought that looked fun. So that's when I went to the class and met you, and I was like, oh, these machines, I felt at home.
Yeah, because you've obviously been around them. But before that, you did mention that you were airbrushing and stuff, your son's cleats and stuff.
So for a few years, I mean, I started. So my son's cleats he was playing basketball and football. I don't know if it was his basketball shoes or his football cleats that I painted first, and then his friends asked me, and I did his friends. I did some, Daredevil anyways, I did something on him, and more of his friends asked, and then I customized my my CrossFit shoes, and I went to the gym, and at that time nobody was doing CrossFit shoes, and CrossFit was kind of it was bigger back then, but nobody was really customizing CrossFit shoes.
In the scheme of timelines, this is what, 2012, 13, 14?
Yeah, I mean, when did we take the class? Almost 3 years ago.
I want to guess 2017 or 18. I think 2018.
Yeah. So maybe a year or two before that. So 2016.
Gotcha. But like,
15.
how did you just like learn to randomly start customizing sneakers, even for your son? Like, you're just like, one day you're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I gave him custom kicks?
Well, my son was painting them himself, and I'm like, dude, you're doing a terrible job. Let me help you.
Wait, is that a true story?
I didn't say it like that, but I said, hey, would you like some help? But in my mind, I'm like, dude, look, this is trash. Let me help you.
So he was the one that was like, oh, I want to do this.
He's the one that introduced me to it originally, but then, I mean, I think my wife bought me an airbrush for my birthday or something. She bought me an airbrush and a little compressor. And then I had my office at home where, I did appraisals, and I put up a little paint booth, and that slowly got bigger and bigger. Then I went into the garage and I took over the whole garage, and now I have my own studio here. But yeah, so that's pretty much how it started. He was painting his shoes, and I thought, this doesn't look too hard to do. I think I can figure it out, and help them. And then I started watching a bunch of YouTube.
But like, as somebody with like not really like a set, you never took courses on like design or drawing or anything like that. Mm-hmm. You're just like, fuck it, I'm gonna learn how to do this.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I was looking at some people on YouTube. I'm like, man, if these guys can do it, I don't see why I can't.
You're not wrong. You're just not. You're not wrong at all. That's amazing.
That's the same feeling I had when I started in real estate. Coming from Kansas, remember I told you I was a landscaper. I didn't think I belonged with the real estate agent group or social or whatever. I came here and like, man, some of these guys are not very smart. Like, if they could do it, I can do it.
It is true. I think, as you work around, I don't know how it is otherwise, but like after interacting with, whether it's friends or family or industry professionals, like you look around and a lot of times you're just like, you scratch your head being like, how does this person have a job?
Yeah. I mean, we've been, even before that, when we were little, we've been kind of doing our own thing, as entrepreneurs. My brother and I, we would go and, get little ice cream carts and sell them, around the street in Mexico. So we've always been kind of just trying to, do our own thing. I think that comes from mainly my mom was always, an entrepreneur, always working from home by herself, and I think it comes from there where I'm just, somehow I just think we'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so was your, like, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this, but when you were doing these custom kicks for like your son and his team or whatever, his friends or whatever, did it ever when did it turn into like a business where you were getting like regular orders? Was it before or after the course?
Before the course. No,
okay.
Before the course, when I started going to the gym with my,
with your CrossFit shoes.
Yeah. So I used to work as a, CrossFit. I'm also certified as a CrossFit coach and a USAW lifting coach.
Ray, your resume covers, I'm pretty sure, every environment or market segment in the world.
Yeah, I've done a lot. I mean, from building houses to, real estate to weightlifting coach, I guess.
So you were coaching weightlifting?
CrossFit. I'm certified as a USAW and CrossFit coach, but I was doing after about 15, 16 years in real estate, I started getting really kind of bored and stagnant. And I felt like I had to force myself to go sit on the desk and work. I felt like I was just dying a little bit every day.
Yeah.
So I started getting into weightlifting and CrossFit and stuff. And then I was doing that as a hobby. Then that turned into a part-time job. And I was actually thinking about opening up my own gym before I got into shoe customizing.
Because why not?
I was bored doing appraisals and I was just looking for something else to do. So I started working part-time and I liked that. And I started getting more certifications and, and then looking into gyms. And then that's when I started customizing. I was like, oh, this is way funner. And then I stopped going to the gym and gained weight.
But so you were, when you customized your own CrossFit shoes, I'm assuming you gained clientele that way.
Oh yeah. I got some, I made some shoes for some big, people in CrossFit, some of the, celebrities in CrossFit. Made some shoes for them and it kind of just blew up from there. And I was making a lot of CrossFit shoes. And then I made an actual reconstruction of a weightlifting shoe, the Nike Romaleo. Like nobody's ever done that. It took me 6 months to develop the right last because they kept messing. I went through 2 different factories in Mexico and I kept sending them, I actually would buy a shoe, take it apart or take it off the sole and send it to them in pieces. And I said, make me a last for this shoe. I wanted it specifically to fit this shoe. And I don't know how they just kept messing it up. because it's a different last that nobody's ever seen before. If you look at a weightlifting shoe, it has a lot of support on the heel, but the toe box is very wide, so that when you're squatting, your kind of fingers just spread out.
Sure.
So it's a different shape. But anyway, it took me like 6 months. We finally got it, and then I made the like a Jordan 11, like the Concord weightlifting shoe, Space Jam or whatever. I made a couple of them.
Did you?
And
was the goal just for yourself or to sell them, or like what?
I just wanted to see if I could do it, and I did sell a couple. I think I sold a couple, and I could have sold more, but I stopped like trying. I was like, okay, I can do that now. You know, it's kind of. So the worst for me, I stopped. I went to the shoe surgeon class because I was getting so many orders of the same shoe over and over again. People love these like donut CrossFit shoes. I would spray paint donuts on them, you know, like the Homer Simpson donuts. So I was spray painting them, and people would love them, and it was okay. You know, I'd charge 100, 150. It'd take me, you know, an hour or two to do, but I just hated doing the same thing over and over again. Like, okay, I'm tired of donut shoes. So that's when I went to the shoe surgeon class.
So what was like the biggest takeaway out of that class for you? Like that was like able to grow your business to a different point, because even in the last 3 years, Ray, your business has grown a lot.
Well, since last November, I think was my first class on my own. I've been working with Dom, and you know, I was helping him as a teacher, at first as an intern, then a teacher, and then, you know, and he wanted me to, you know, help him out to commit to the you know, bunch of classes this year, 2020. And kind of, you know, I felt like I could do something better on my own. So yeah, I mean, I've been on my own since November of last year was my first class.
That's awesome. So your business revolves around custom orders, and then do you do like anything inline, and then you also do classes?
I do classes. With this new spot I have, I do classes. Probably going to do them more frequently now. And I'm able to make, I don't know, customs. I don't really make a lot of customs, not yet, because I have to do them first of all, by myself, by hand. It's going to take me like, I don't know, a couple of days just to make one pair of shoes.
Sure.
So I'm partnering up with somebody. We're going to actually have a full-on shoe factory that we're partnering up, and we're getting everything ready. So once that gets put in place, then I can take more orders.
Gotcha.
So if you go on my website, I think right now I'm charging like $2,500 for customs, which for me is crazy. That's way too much, but I'm doing that on purpose because I don't want to get too busy making these shoes, you know, one at a time.
You think $2,500 is too much money for a custom pair of shoes?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I see them for 5,000, 6,000, 15, you know, whatever. But my plan is to make them way more affordable. I mean, more I don't want to say mainstream, but you know, they're too expensive. So
why do you say that though? Like what for you, what's the goal of becoming able to provide it to a wider market?
So I'm trying to like move the sneaker culture. Like a lot of people tell me like, why do you one guy in my last class is like, do you keep any trade secrets? I'm like, no, I show everybody, like, I don't have any secrets. I help everybody. Like the sneaker community grows, we all grow, and it's better for everybody. I'm like, right. if you don't, you know, if you make a really nice shoe, somebody else comes out with the nice shoe. It's like, oh man, I gotta make a dope shoe, like even better. So we just keep pushing the game farther and farther. You know, if we didn't, you know, you wouldn't have, you know, Kobe without MJ or whatever. People just keep pushing each other. So people ask me like, why are you doing it so cheap, or why are you giving away so much stuff? Like, it's just, I mean, I'm not losing money. I'm making money still, but Sure. There's no reason to make, you know, if I think of it as growing the culture. I'm helping grow the culture, helping others succeed. I like doing that. And I don't have any secrets. That was one of the things that drove me nuts when, I was teaching and, you know, working at other places, was like, they don't want to give away any information. They were scared of, you know, I don't know if they're scared of competition, or I don't know what it was, but there's a lot of like these, you know, in-house kind of secrets. And I'm like, what's the big deal? Like we're growing the community. It's better for everybody.
Sure. No, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And you speak about that so passionately. I just got fucking goosebumps all over my body. I mean, that was awesome.
I still get people on Instagram telling me, like other shoemakers on Instagram, I'm not going to say any names, but I've had 2 or 3 that are kind of upset. Like, why are you giving away so much for free? Like, like secrets or why you, I mean, information, or I'm like, but the more I give away, like people trust me more and they buy my patterns, they buy my lasts, they buy,
Yeah.
and it's good for
I mean,
everybody. I
even
mean,
call it a secret or not, that person who consumes it still has to put in the work, the same amount of
yeah,
hours as anybody else. So it, whether you help them a little bit or a lot of it, it doesn't matter. They still got to go put in the work.
yeah.
So you
So
can't take that away.
that's one of the reasons I'm not afraid of, like, people ask me all the time, you're training all these people that are going to compete with you. It's such a small market. I'm like, if they want to compete with me, that's fine. But the amount of work that I've done, the knowledge, all the stuff that I put into the business, that if they can match that, good for them. Like, that's just going to make me bring my game up even higher.
Yeah, I mean that you mentioned Kobe, right? And there's a documentary, YouTube videos on how he speaks about how he went to the gym, at 4 a.m. because he built hours and hours, week over week, year over year, built like that amount of time. Nobody else could catch up because he put in that much work. So if people are pushing you, you've already built these amount of hours, and you're going to keep growing and keep getting better. It's the same mentality.
Yep. I mean, I visited a bunch of different factories. I've went to all these trade shows in Mexico, and I got a lot of shoe knowledge, a lot that I wasn't sure what I was going to do with, but now I can share it with everybody. And I like saying in my class, I tell my students all the time, knowledge is like love. The best thing we can do with it is give it away. Like, give it away, and if they want to work hard at it, good. It's going to make the whole culture better. And if they don't, then give them the opportunity.
Definitely. What are some of the things that you're I mean, you hinted at possibly like a shoe factory or partnering with somebody, but like what are or some of your other goals like in the near future for you? Obviously, I'm assuming the pandemic had a little bit of a hit on you. But like what are some of your goals for your business or businesses in the future?
I was actually thinking about selling my appraisal business, which I never thought I would do, but I was going to focus 100% of my energy and time on the shoe business. But I mean, my goal is hopefully we get it's going to be a big leather factory. My business partner, he's one of the top leather distributors in the country, exotic leathers. And so my goal is to make other leather products. We're going to have all the manpower. We're going to have all the machinery. So shoes, leather products, maybe even our own brand. And keep teaching. I'm not going to stop teaching the classes. I love teaching the classes. I mean, you saw how it is. It's all the positive energy, people feeding off each other.
It is awesome. Like, the one thing people always ask me like about the class, and I say the greatest takeaway was the people. I still keep in contact with every single one of you guys.
I do too. A lot of the guys, I just talked to him last week. Juan Cheese, he was sitting I think he was sitting in front of me. I just talked to him last week. And Joel from Australia, he was in our class. He just bought some last like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's the people that the experience was awesome. The shoes were awesome. The knowledge was awesome. But like, still staying connected with people to me was the greatest takeaway. And like, that's stuff you just can't replicate. Like, there's you can't spend enough money on stuff like that.
Yeah, I try to bring that same energy in my classes. I try to always be there I answer so many questions every day on Instagram. My toe pup is doing this. How do I fix this? Where does this part go? And I try to answer all the questions, and I'm never, trying to hide any information or anything. I share all my resources. I don't,
Do you get burnt out? Like,
I
just
do.
work all the time? Like,
I do. And I hired some more people. I'm like, dude, I recently hired a marketing guy, a web guy, media guy. So they're one guy's in charge of Instagram, answering a lot of the DMs, and he just lets me know when it's a shoe related question or, something he can't answer. And when I have time, I'll go. I'm starting to get worried that if I keep growing at this rate, I don't think I'm going to have time to help as many people. And so my plan is to make a bunch of free YouTube videos, because a lot of people have the same questions. It's a lot of the same questions,
sure.
So I figure if I put out some YouTube videos, and I can help a lot of people without taking up too much time, that I won't have.
I had the same conversation with our episode 22 guest, Chris Burns, who he talks about how he actually wishes he got on YouTube earlier so he could have built a platform way early, because the platform's not going anywhere. It's like one of the biggest and best of all time. So if he was speaking to you, he'd be like, definitely get on YouTube. You can reach more people that way.
Yeah, I just talked. I think I only have 2 videos on YouTube, and I don't know how many followers I have, 200 or 300. And I only have 2 videos, and I haven't put anything out. And I just talked to a guy yesterday who's an editor, a video editor, and he's going to help me put out more videos. So I ordered some cameras, and we should get going soon on that, because I know a lot of people, they trust me. They ask me a lot of questions, and at this rate, I'm not going to be able to help them all. So that was my answer, was get on YouTube and put out all the answers there.
Do you think about, I like to ask people this question just because everybody seems to always have a different answer. Do you have like a 5 or a 10-year plan? Do you think that far into the future? You just you seem like you just roll with the punches every day.
I do. I mean, I think if I knew, the risk when I was younger, like a lot of stuff that I did, if I knew the risk, I probably would be too scared to do it. Like I wouldn't even do it, but I just roll with it. And I mean, I'd like to have my shoe factory going, maybe even have my own brand, maybe get some Vibram soles on there.
I got you anytime you want.
But that's kind of where I see myself. My business partner has like a crocodile farm and some leather tanneries, and so we have access to a lot of leather, cheap, so we can make a lot of leather products at really good quality. So I mean, who knows? I was just thinking about that. Like, man, I should like sponsor the USAW weightlifting team, make them all custom weightlifters, stuff like that. Like,
I mean, you would have it covered. You'd have the apparel side covered, the kick side covered. I mean,
we can make them some leather lifting straps or wrist straps,
Man.
So I'm always thinking like, but yeah, my goal is to have that leather and shoe factory going, and I don't know, just waiting for the grandkids now, I guess.
Well, if there's one thing I learned, there's nothing that you can't do. What's your website for people to be able to kind of inquire, find out more, and then plug your handles in? How can people find you?
Yeah, it's SD Custom Footwear.
Okay.
Like San Diego, SD Custom Footwear. Same on Instagram, SD Custom Footwear, and yeah, I'm always there. If I don't answer, my guy Reynard answers, and we're always willing to help.
Well, man, this has been a really, really awesome conversation. I was not expecting this. You definitely have gone through some things in life, and you've made the best out of a lot of situations. It sounds like. So. Thanks for sharing some of those stories with us today.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me. And whenever you're in San Diego, come say hi.
I will do that. Hopefully people inquire. Stay tuned for his YouTube videos in the future. Find him on Instagram. Check out his stuff. We'll be in touch soon. All right, man.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thanks for having me, man. Talk to you later.